wondering what's going on with you and Terence Crawford. This fight going to happen?
I think it's going to happen. We both want to fight. I want to fight. He wants to fight. And, it's going down to negotiations. So I definitely going to get the fight this year. And we're going to square off this year with the biggest fight in boxing.
If Errol Spence fights Terence Crawford this year, that means he did exactly what he said he was going to do. That's what I'm going to talk about. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Now, it's been a long time coming, and I couldn't wait for this moment. From the sounds of it, you guys heard the snippet at the beginning. That was from the Magsayo versus Ray Vargas card, and Errol Spence was interviewed in between the fights, and that was actually a good card too on Showtime. Shout out to them. But Errol Spence was interviewed in between the fights, and that's what he said. He says, he's done many interviews. The burning question everyone wants to know, is he going to fight Terence Crawford? And different interviews, I'm going to kind of mesh them together. You guys can find them floating on the internet. But on that Showtime interview, he said what you heard at the beginning. But in other interviews, he says if it don't happen now, then it probably never will happen. But he also said it's closer than it's ever been. These are the sentiments of Errol Spence Jr. Now, that being said, it goes back to what I've always told you on my channel. There were a lot of antagonists to the Errol Spence Jr. train or movement and naysayers who constantly berated Errol Spence Jr. and said he was ducking, afraid, yellow belly, coward, and he was some holdup to the fight with Terence Crawford. I've never subscribed to that. You've never heard no video where I stated as such, because I never believed that. I didn't believe that Terence Crawford was afraid, nor did I believe that Errol Spence. But the reason I'm not really talking about Terence Crawford is I have a popular channel and, popular social medias, Instagrams and Facebook, etc. And the overall consensus, I think I do a great job of reaching out and, being a voice in the boxing game. And I get a good overflow of what the public voice is. And I never really seen people attack Terence Crawford the same way that they did Errol Spence Jr. in terms of saying that Terence Crawford was ducking. Up until, I will be full disclosure, I did see when Errol beat Ugas and Crawford was a free agent after beating Sean Porter, I did see some people at that point say that Terence Crawford, they felt he was ducking, but that was only because the fight was taking so long and we hadn't heard any updates. So at that point, basically recently, based on the level of information that was available, some people did jump to the conclusions. But I'm talking about for the last several years, I haven't really heard people suggest that Terence Crawford was ducking. Again, from my perspective, I never thought Terence Crawford was ducking or avoiding Errol, and I damn sure didn't think Errol Spence was ducking him either. I thought this was a classic case of what I've said from day one. I seen this moment way before it happened. I seen this coming a mile away. The bottom line is we need some accountability in boxing. You guys can hold me accountable for what I say. It don't hurt me. I actually prefer that because everything I say is on wax anyway. So the things that I say, make sure you guys subscribe, hit the bell icon so you don't miss a thing. But all the things that I say in boxing are basically recorded. Every time I do a video like this one that you guys are listening to, SLC, subscribe, like, and comment. Every video I do is a breadcrumb to my work, so people can go back years ago, decade ago, and listen to what I said about Mayweather Pacquiao in 2015, or more recently what I said about Joshua Usyk, or whatever the situation may be. And that's the beauty of being on this YouTube platform. And I've been very clear. I speak perfect English. I'm very transparent. And a lot of people, like this video, you see Terence Crawford, he said, "Errol, where you at? Blah, 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 blase, blah." And he said, I'm looking for you in the ocean. You're supposed to be the big fish. And I'm just paraphrasing. You guys can go watch the video. I posted it. And he said, I'm looking for you. You at HOE, where you at, etc. And then to me, it didn't really make sense in this particular call out that you see on the screen, because weeks later, he fought Ugas. And it was pretty understood at that time, at least for me, I seen that coming. Because Ugas was an in-house fight. He had just beaten Manny Pacquiao. I want to, it's up to my promoter, Al Haymon, I believe, yeah, right? So Ugas had just looked sensational, sharp performance, basically retired Pacquiao. Video surfaced shortly after that where Pacquiao couldn't eat solid foods and was being fed Mott's applesauce or whatever the case was by his wife Jinky. Shout out to Jinky. And you know, Ugas did a good thing and he solidified himself as a true champion. So just like you see with Sean Porter on the screen, Errol unified. And that's something that should have been praised by everybody. But instead, people try to create this narrative that Errol Spence was the holdup. And I told you guys from day one on my channel what I truly believe was the holdup. And that was boxing politics. Errol Spence, he literally and truthfully did everything he said he was going to do. And he took a harder road at 147. This is undeniable. It can't even be remotely refuted. There's nothing you can say in the comment section to prove me wrong, because one guy has 3 belts that he collected independently from active champions, right? And the other guy has 1 belt against a guy, Jeff Horn, that, truth be told, I don't even think, and this is not a knock on Terence Crawford, but the way Top Rank played it, Jeff Horn really lost to Pacquiao. I've always maintained that. I never seen Pacquiao losing that particular fight, but it was in Australia. Like, just ask yourself these questions. Pacquiao, all of what he's done for the sport of boxing, he got like 70 fights, which is unheard of for today's fighter. Nobody has that many fights. Even Floyd Mayweather, he has 50 fights, but these new fighters don't have it. Lomachenko doesn't even have 20 fights. And then you got a guy like Manny Pacquiao, and he got 70 fights. So Pacquiao clearly put work in. Why on earth would Top Rank put Manny Pacquiao at a deficit with Australian judging, or judging in another country, you know, a place like Australia, and give a guy who was like 15-0, 16-0 with no significant wins? His best win was a 41-year-old Randall Bailey, and they gave him the home court advantage and things like that. And many people believed that he was robbed in the end anyway. They believed that Pacquiao was robbed of a rightful victory over Jeff Horn, so he really should have remained a champion. So again, that's not Crawford's problem. Crawford wasn't involved in that fight, but he was involved with who he aligned himself with and the situation. The fact of the matter is what I've said from day one. Terence Crawford, brilliant fighter. He should have gotten the Pacquiao fight well before some random school teacher from Australia like Jeff Horn, who really wasn't in the mix, was unheard of. And he got the opportunity with 15-0, 16-0 record, when Terence Crawford had been calling out Pacquiao. And Bob Arum has interviews where he stated that he wanted to make the Pacquiao fight, but for some reason it never happened. So, you know, a lot of this, to be honest, is Crawford's fault because of his alignment. And that's how I've always seen it. And you can say whatever you want, but we all know nothing goes down in boxing unless the business makes sense, right? Like Mayweather and Pacquiao, they fought when it was so undeniable that the business made sense for everybody, and then it finally happened. And I know that fight had a lot of different hangups, and I'm not going to explore each and every one of them because the fight's over. We had it, we already witnessed it, but I'm just saying there has to be some level of accountability. And all in all, Errol Spence did the things that he claimed years ago. I'm talking 2017, 2018. He said what he was planning on doing in the world of boxing, and he literally did that. So I never understood why old media or whoever, the naysayers, wanted me to say anything different and accuse Errol Spence of ducking. And then now what's the odds? What a coincidence that finally when Crawford's free from Top Rank, which is what Keith Thurman, Mikey Garcia, Andy Ruiz, Boxing Ego, and other people had said based on his situation, there were no top welterweights for Crawford to fight, and the only guy that was, which was Pacquiao, he didn't get. Then as soon as he's a free agent, now it looks like the fight may happen. Man, come on, checkmate. Introducing Super Thanks, right here on the official Boxing Ego YouTube. Super Thanks allows you, the viewers, to show a little bit of extra gratitude, which enables me as a full-time content creator to push out the content you need in the world of boxing. Underneath all the videos, you will see a heart with the $sign in it. You can enter any amount that you find suitable as a super thanks. A brand new, interactive, and colorful way to get your comments highlighted and noticed by not only myself, but other people on the YouTube platform. Super thanks, a unique and cool way to show and applaud us full-time content creators. Hopefully you guys enjoy the content. Super thanks. The future is now. The Hibernation 5s by Kenichi Bear. Hybrid gaming and lifestyle headphones. Out of the box, you can connect to any console or PC. Bluetooth ready with a low latency USB adapter, color RGB, and extreme bass mode. The Hibernation 5s adjust to you. Whether you need a gaming, travel, gym, or lifestyle headphones, the Hibernations got you covered. The new Hibernation 5s, link in the description. Customize the way you hear the world. Welcome to the nation. Are you tired of your YouTube videos not getting any views? Well, consider TubeBuddy. I've used TubeBuddy for years to scale up my YouTube channel. Now we're sitting over 200,000 subscribers. TubeBuddy is a browser extension that offers a ton of built-in productivity and time-saving services to take your channel to the next level. Use my link in the description to get started with TubeBuddy and level up your channel faster. We working.